Bonjour et bienvenue au podcast S.O.S. Business. Today we're going to speak in French and English, so it depends how we feel, because we're going to talk about AI and the human factor in AI. And before we talk with my guest today, I just want to say, according to a 2025 MIT Sloan study, 95% of corporate AI initiatives fail to generate real financial value. Only 5% of them succeed. So let's dig in right now with my guest. So Frédéric Joly, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure.
So what are you doing? Why did I invite you? Because we're talking about AI.
We met at a great networking space created by Léo. Mm-hmm. This is the one l'entremetteur en français. So that's the you bring people together and we bridge. So that's the thing. It's really nice to do networking, but if you just do networking, exchanging cards and QR code nowadays, that's worth nothing. But if we do something, if we start collaborating, it's even better. So that's what we call, Léo and I, the bridging after networking. So that's where we met, and I think I was very touched by your presentation that you did there. And then we talk about the human, and I explain you that with 3 of my companies, there's Agile Lounge for Business Agility, where we put also the customer in the center of everything we build, whether it's a web application or a software or even a website. And of course, I have a startup with some folks in Austin, Texas. We developed Adrian AI. And if we have time, I could tell you the story of the name. But so that's it. So, and I think you were interesting in your podcast to explore this very, very machine thing and digital thing, but what about the human in that?
Yes.
I think it is.
Yes, that's it. So, yes, because what really caught my attention was like your equation.
Yeah.
That was really the one thing. So, because right now we're talking a lot about AI, we want to optimize, we want to, automate a lot of things. But at the end of the day, there are so many things we need human, and there's a human factor we need. So I would like you to talk about that.
But the equation is just mine alone. It's a really it's a work effort. It's a co-creation. So I would like to salute Samuel Ball, one of my co-worker in this space.
Hi, Samuel.
So and by the way, as we're gonna share it also to my Dare Real Agile, I appreciate that the fact that you're authentic on script like we do at the Dare Real Agile podcast, and I've got a club of joggers that listen to Spotify and Apple, so I just say hi to them.
Hi to them.
That's right. And so yes, the equation basically, we start by Brian Kramer, actually, H2H. It's human-to-human interaction. That came from the business field of development. We often talk about B2C, for business to consumer, or B2B, business to business. And we said at the end of the day, when we do pre-sales nowadays, not just to go play golf with someone and get a contract and all of these old way of working. And we are in the future of work, the new way of working, the new economy. And in our case, since probably 2006, including the AI, including the deep learning and everything. So we came up with Brian Kramer first with this notion of H2H. And then I said, okay, now when we build a large language model, LLM, it's important that there's still programmers behind the scene, that people forget it. It's that they think this is a kind of a robot on the other side of the screen, or it's a kind of a monster or whatever. But no, these are a bunch of engineer, software designer and software developer that still building these tools. Probably the audience knows about ChatGPT. It's the most popular one. It's going to become actually the Facebook of these LLM, language model and chatbot. But now, so we said, now we're going to put it further for the future of work. So in a team, you could have an assistance, digital assistance. I'm not talking about Alexa or Siri. I'm talking about transforming those chatbots, pinging into the big data and the Cloudsphere and everything, and making them a personality. So that's why Anthropic called them Claude. We call our Adrienne. So that's the model. But behind this, there's AI as a service for enterprise, because the enterprise AI will say I will have a competitive edge. And the Sloan study that you mentioned, these are everyone who started that 2019, I think, to 2021. They put a lot of millions into that, and they were not ready. It's too fast.
And we need to have a Yeah.
So,
It's
so
a
the return on
transformation.
investment
Yeah.
was not there, especially some organization. And did you know that just in Quebec, for private enterprise, including, and if we include the government, it's even lower, there's only 21, 23%, according to Chaos Report, that are digitalized. And when I say digitalized, it's the first and second layer of the digital revolution that started in the mid-1980s.
Okay, so you're talking
So,
about the layers
yeah.
for the audience. Okay, there's 4 layers.
Yeah.
What are the layers?
So just for fun, like the first one was literally the internet becoming the web. So the internet was there since a long time, and probably mid-90s, mid-80s to mid-90s, you have the web itself. So you could chat, you could browse, you could use a modem to connect and everything. And then from the mid-90s to the Y2K crisis and the dot-com burst, that was the e-commerce. So now you could change your HTML static site or your billboard, they used to call it the board
The
and the
board,
BBS, to something less monochrome and really a better interface, plus transactional. You could have a transactional site. AOL was there, Google, Yahoo, and everything. So all of these companies emerged from
At the
95
time.
to 2000. The Y2K kind of scam was there for the binary to the multi-binary IP effect. So that was the second layer there. And after the crisis, of course, we saw Google emerge and all of the others. And then the third layer will be the emergence of the social network. We are now 2000 for the first one, like MySpace, BitchNut, and everything. But Facebook, of course, was the ChatGPT of the time. For that. By the way, this summer, I really felt like it was 1993 and 1994 all over again, just before this run of the dot-com and the e-commerce, and also the social media will change everything and the way we do marketing and interact together. So that was that, and you saw the study that made it happen. So, and now, the third, I said the third layer? No, the second layer was a social network. But the third layer was the mobile, your iPhone. Now, the internet, nowadays, 87% of Quebecois and Canadian and North American, 87%, they do everything,
On their phone.
banking on their phone. So when you have still company today that didn't even achieve the second layer of the e-commerce properly, they're not even using social network properly. And plus the algorithm that kill it anyways. There's no ROE with social media marketing nowadays. So it's LinkedIn, Facebook, it's a scam. And now you have the AI who apparently will change the SEO
Yes,
to AEO, and then the SDLC for software development lifecycle will change for ADLC, AI lifecycle.
Development lifecycle.
So here's the thing. So this is always like a kind of a first world problem, and elite. It's for the elite. Only those it's only 3% of all of us that actually are achieving great things into all of these layers of digital transformation. And I invite you to listen to the late Serge Bouchard, if you could find it somewhere on the internet, with Les Chemins de Travers, I think it was the title, the Civilisation Numérique. That was great, great, great. You have like professor talking about it. You have like also the effect of the third world, because everything we're going to talk this afternoon, it's only for the first world, unfortunately. People don't really care about being the first to use AI to enhance their productivity or this and that. It's only like the Western world, part of South Asia. But I bet you that layer with the blockchain revolution as well, the blockchain is not just Bitcoin, but because blockchain could protect your digital twin identity that you're going to need more and more to interact on social network, and also with the artificial intelligence, your assistants, your agent that will work with you. And right now, the big debate is having the agent becoming agentic, making decision as a project manager, including financially. So they need to have tokens. So the tokenization is coming up. Maybe I'm too fast right now, but
no, that's okay. I'm following. It's just that people, I will ask a few questions just for people to follow. Me. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. We're chatting. So okay. So right now, there's a lot of people. I know there's a lot of companies that are not even using the software. You're like, you can manage a company on your phone today if you're there. But what you were saying is, at the beginning, humans are, en arrière de ça.
Yeah.
C'est franglais.
They're on the back.
Okay.
C'est sont
Yeah,
en haut, c'est-
yeah. So
we're still the creator. We're still the strategist.
yeah,
And,
human cannot be taken out of the equation, and you cannot,
They
we're-
could, unfortunately, but not now.
not now.
But they will. Mr. Benjo, one of the three godfather of internet, and Mr. Smack and Big Kramer, when they talk about singularity, when we talk about the fusion of the unified field of science between quantum mechanics and the cosmology, here you are. And I even have a theory, and I swear I didn't take any mushroom before coming here. I even have a theory that we are ourselves an artificial intelligence. We are so, like I see here, like the beautiful arts and everything. Arts, it's artificial. Mm-hmm. We always adapt our environment to our needs. So we are a foreign agent of this world. So that maybe thing aside, I said like we are replicating what probably we have been, what have been done to ourselves and to the evolution of the biology. Because did you hear about like biodigital convergence?
No.
That's another thing. So that's like the big danger. When we talk about agency, the human agency should be at the forefront. But what if we'd like so much to have an agentic AI so efficient that we put into an Android? I'm not talking about the phone, I'm talking about the real. And you saw them in Southeast Asia. Optimus is ready to launch and to have it in your living room in the United States by summer of 2027.
It's coming.
It's coming. So you're going to have someone in your... ce sera plus juste des petits robots qui nettoient la piscine. It will be literally someone with 2 arms, 2 legs cleaning your pool, and it will be a robot. Mm-hmm. And then after that, you put agency into it, like the right to make decision, the right to receive token and bitcoins, to exchange them and everything. So these are real projects. I saw the blueprint.
So they can go and make the grocery.
Exactly. But the grocery for you, again.
For you.
They're going to be your assistant.
Yeah.
Not a servant, an assistant.
An assistant.
That's the way it's a slave and everything. So it's like what you see in the movie will be not like this, but we will have like probably in the next 5 years, I predict that all of these AI on your phone and stuff will be actually on every compliance. Like the Internet of Object will become now the AI of Object. And yeah, so that will be an assistance everywhere. And I don't know if you realize, but since Alexa, Siri, and stuff like this, it's always incremental. It's empirical.
Yes,
it's
they're
so it's always step by
step.
step.
Agile in delivering
Exactly, and so that's another
technology.
thing. For those enterprises who fell definitely with the first, second, and third layer, it's because they stuck to these old way of making project. As now we have to develop the product and even the software as a service or the platform as a service and everything. So if people don't get it in 2026, after 25 years of the Agile Manifesto, I'm so sorry to say, but it's too late for them. They won't be part of the new economy that will happen towards 2029, 2031.
No, because the way it is, when it started with the phone, you have an update every 3 weeks and there's new stuff in, and it's always changing and evolving so fast.
So have you heard about what Professor Benjo just put it out last spring, I think, 2024, 2025?
No.
The Law Zero, because it's the famous 4 law of robotics from Asimov. And the Law Zero is your human factor. Meaning that it's nice to have the Asimov law of a robot cannot kill a human or cannot. You have to protect himself, or I said itself because it's it, but without contravening the first law, and so. But the Law Zero is even more profound because in our field of research and application of artificial intelligence, as more than a chatbot, as an agent, as an agentic assistant. With more and more agency that we could program into them because they're not building a consciousness by themselves. It's about the learning of things because we're still teaching AI. So that's the thing. Every time you use it yourself, you actually act as a professor, as a practical professor of teaching that AI to build something for you according to the data they could access faster than us and everything. So that's the basic thing. But the Law Zero is, it's a group of researchers led by Mr. Benjo, Professor Benjo, about not creating agentic AI.
Okay.
Meaning,
But
like,
just
keep
for
it
the
as an
people,
agent.
because we're talking about
Yeah.
agentic, can you just, for the people, just to
So
differentiate?
I'm assuming that the people who are listening on board of podcasts are mostly using ChatGPT from OpenAI. So when they use a ChatGPT, actually, and they start having the paid account, they could create agent. So let's say your marketing team want to repetitively create ads for your Facebook or anything. Like, it's many tasks, always the same thing. So you want to create a branch within your ChatGPT, and you will create an agent with the proper prompt. Always act as my social media marketing assistant. So this is the role. Your goal is to create my stuff to
The content,
the content and
following
everything.
the
So,
branding,
and here's the Pantone code, the color code. So you create
the
an
brand
agent.
guide.
That's what it's made. So you create a branch that, instead of opening a new chat, you go to that branch. You open a chat there, but you don't have to repeat your prompt every time because it's already there. So that's an agent. So it's a marketing agent. So the developer, they will use Codex from OpenAI, the ChatGPT, and or Cloud Code from Anthropic, which is more professional. And they will create agent, like an assistant software developer, an assistant UX designer, and so on, with the proper advanced prompting engineering for them to go faster the next time, and also connect them to the many tools that you use to create. I don't know if you use Canva, for instance.
Yeah,
Of course, Canva, they have everyone have this little agent now, but this agent will have to talk with your agent under Claude, Adrienne, or even ChatGPT to make things better. So this is an agent, like, not necessarily autonomous, but enough to make
Assistant,
connection.
yes.
It's an assistance, but it's always like he has a role. Or I said he. It has a role.
It
Yeah,
has a
sorry.
role.
And
But you can decide if it's a he, a she, or it,
exactly. And then after that, the agentic, in that case, you build automation, not automatization.
Automation.
It's automation, which means that the way you program that agent now, it's about receiving a kind of a hierarchy, or what we call the architecture, the robotic architecture of substantion, which is a layer of spiral, where he knows that he could go to you, to me, or to Frédéric, or to Audrey, to ask a question before taking a decision. So this is where we are now, and the programmation of the agentic. So it's more autonomous, and he could also give orders to agents. So instead of you prompting, entering into your ChatGPT, that agentic will actually open a chat and ask the other agent to do things in your marketing department, financial department, blah, 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 blah.
So it's more a role. So instead of an
Yeah,
agent
but
right now,
both
it's
are
not-
roles.
Yeah, but
the agentic has more power, and now in the decision rights, and tomorrow actually at 12 noon with Agile Boston and the MIT, we're going to see the first Scrum team for software development completely made of agentic. There's no human at all. So to come back to your thing, so me, I disagree with Professor Sutherland. I agree more with Benjo, because what we built at Adrian AI is I don't mind to have agent and agentic working with me, not
With.
for me. It's really important. And I don't necessarily want them to build an agency. The agency should be ours. And that's why my question is H2H multiplied by AI plus HI, which is human intelligence, working together in a substantive collaboration. So that's the best way. And by the way, that's why we choose Anthropic as our partner. Anthropic is the one who built Claude. Claude is probably the most advanced large language model and assistant right now in many fields. And because they adopt this kind of equation themselves too, and they liked it. When we met them last fall in Austin, Texas again, because it's the new hub there, and also Nashville, Tennessee. It's not just the music now, it's everything about AI in Nashville. And so, yeah,
Okay. So I'm sure that There's a lot of people listening right now that are, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah, 20 minutes is kind of short because there's
yeah,
so
I know,
many.
but
I tried to resume what we do
that's
and
okay.
what we
But
did for
it's like
10 years, actually.
I'm
already.
sure that people are, oh my God, I'm so not there. So if we have 3 advice to give to people right now, what would those be?
But personally, for whatever you do, your career path or your study path, start using those language model at least, or this Gen AI, to help you be better. Not just write something completely with the AI. Write a draft, prompt it to make it better, instead of using, use it for yourself, to enhance yourself. So that's the first thing that I will say to anyone if we do coaching for someone in his career path right now. Secondly, for the enterprise, for the decision maker, the C-level or the whatever, they will have to use that equation also when they decide to invite, and I will encourage them to invite their middle manager and their people, their subject matter expert, to start using AI and create the agent. Because we don't have time, unfortunately, because there's a big thing right now.
We can take a few minutes.
About the attrition, a lot of people blame AI will replace my job. No, that's the thing.
Well, they said the same thing in the 80s when the computers came.
Yeah.
They said, well, humans will lose their jobs.
But that's true. But the funny thing is there's so many, just at Adrian AI, we opened 2 new jobs that didn't exist before. It's prompt engineering facilitator that didn't exist. So it's a programmer that now don't need to program anymore because he has his agent with Cloud Code.
He's working with them and he's reviewing the job.
And on his spare time, so we don't lay off him. We keep him. He become a product manager. So it's a career advantage. And on top of it, he will train people to adapt AI better and with the prompt engineering and the creation of agent. That's the big thing right now. I won't name all the company that we are bending it with, whether it's in Quebec, Canada, and the United States. But this is the thing now. They know that they have to create agent to collaborate with their human counterpart doing this. Especially, I'm talking about like office space work and finance, marketing, legal, stuff like this.
Okay.
So the second thing is it's the invitation for those to remember that it's still H2M. And for the more aggressive CEO out there that they want the M2M economy, well, if they want to justify the layoff with that, good luck, because part of the Sloan study, not only they lost money, but they had to rehire a lot of people
and they lost all the knowledge and everything. I know.
Exactly.
It's a big mess.
Yeah, it's a big mess. And so we hope that they won't make the same mess as agile software development did, unfortunately, at some point. Like, because 26 years later, we are still arguing about which is the best method, as the manifesto was supposed to solve it. Now, AI, you're going to see, and the third thing we could say is, I don't know how to say that. It's not really an advice, but I will say be meaningful. When I see people, because there's a lot of energy usage, it's a kinetic energy. You don't have any idea. When you ask ChatGPT, could you help me with my lasagna or my vacation in Tulum? They are built to do 10x time better than that. I mean, a lot of people use it. Like I would say, 97% of people use it to replace Google search.
Yeah,
or Bing
I know,
search.
and it's terrible because they have it on their phone and they're just using it. It's like, if you want to, you have a coffee, you're taking a little spoon, and then you're taking that thing for the soup to, it doesn't.
Yeah, I know. So,
sense.
And it's take too much energy and stuff, even if it's free. Anyway, it won't stay free for long, because we're entering the CAS now, or the democratization of it. So you're going to see a commercial model. But here's the thing: OpenAI is more commercial. It's more like so it's going to be a lot more like not so much for the enterprise AI, I will say. And unfortunately, I just heard that CGE they want to make a partnership with OpenAI. Big fail.
Yeah, but they did. Anyway, we won't get into this.
Yeah, but I mean, I have to say that out loud because it's you should diversify invitation based again. Huh?
Yeah, but defense in U.S. did also a partnership with OpenAI.
But this is more
don't know.
tricky. It's not exactly
Anyway.
no, the problem is
Don't get into this.
if you take a Deloitte, a CGI, a Price Waterhouse, and all of these consulting firm, the problem is they go outside to other companies. So what happened in Agile, for instance, especially in Quebec, compared to all the other places in North America, because the big firm, the big four, the big five, they use what we call scale agile framework, which is safe in the short term. So everybody is using it. So there's no diversification of thing. And I was speaking this morning in a meeting with engineers. They said, like, don't impose me codex as a developer to use with OpenAI. But the poor thing is, if Deloitte and CGI start having a partnership, it's not like if our Ministry of Defense do it, that's another ethical thing that we could approach. I agree. Because but actually, Anthropic is the only one right now with probably perplexity to have a government department to offer services to government. But then after, if it's used for, it's another thing. But well, I like decentralization, and people should do also another equation. It have to be business agility now, human-centered, customer-centric, and the blockchain protocol, not just to make Bitcoin, that's an outcome. The blockchain protocol should be looking at seriously because for me, and this digital civilization, that's probably after the internet itself, back in the 60s, blockchain protocol standard, it's probably the most efficient and astonishing invention that we had to protect our digital self. Using AI, using social network, using everything. Because they're going to impose it on us.
Yes, it's going to happen.
Anyway, so you better do it with the blockchain than with what Eric Kerr wanted to do and with the server host in China.
So
the sovereignty of AI also. That was,
so one thing I would add for people to remember is that in the 80s, we all thought that computers would replace people. But right now, we're all having a computer. It's becoming like a tool we're using. Right now, AI is like, oh my God, it's going to do so many bad things. But at the end of the day, it's another tool.
It's always the human who programmed those things to do bad things.
Exactly. So it's another tool, and we have the power to make that tool a great tool or not a great tool. So that's my my point.
That's true that according to the real research and the empirism right now, compared to, say, in 1995, Sears is going to be bankrupt or the Bay was going to be bankrupt because of e-commerce. That was the prediction. It took 25 or 30 years.
Well, they did adapt.
Happen, yes.
Yeah.
But not
they
necessarily.
Did adapt, but
not enough.
Not enough.
But now, what happened in 25 years for the e-commerce and .com will happen in 5 years with AI.
Yeah.
So all the predictions you hear are kind of probable. Really high-end, so we have to. So that's why we have like 3-4 camp now. You have the Benjo guys with non-agentic AI, and you have all of those who would like absolutely to give agency to those AI. So that's
Okay. So thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure.
Today. Merci beaucoup à tout le monde. Thank you for being there. Et je vous invite à revenir dans 2 semaines pour une autre émission de SOS Business.